Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and thanks for joining us today, November 22nd, on No Greater Delight, our podcast on Marian feasts and Marian meditations. Well, today we go all the way to Asia, because in Vietnam they're celebrating Our Lady of Lavang. Now, during the late 1700s, the persecution of Catholics was so severe that many of them fled to the remote mountain area near the imperial city of Hue, the province of Quang Tri, at the time the northernmost province in the Republic of Vietnam, southern Vietnam. They fled to the area of Lavang in order to save their lives and to practice their faith in peace. In 1798, as the community gathered to say the rosary together, there was an apparition of a beautiful lady holding a little child in her arms. She was surrounded by angels. Her dress was simple, traditional of the Vietnamese, but she wore a golden crown. The beautiful lady spoke to the people as a mother, giving them words of love and comfort. Interestingly enough, she didn't express any warnings like Our Lady of Fatima. She simply expressed her love for them as her persecuted children. Helping them with their problems and cares, she even showed them how to make medicines from the plants and herbs that grew in the area. In fact, she appeared several more times, always giving the same message of love and comfort. Soon a small shrine of rice straw and leaves was built in her honor. More and more of the faithful flocked to the shrine over the years. There were miraculous cures, and Lavang continued to be a sanctuary for the oppressed Catholics. Now in 1805, the Emperor, Ming Mang, ordered his soldiers to get rid of all the colonial influence, and this included the Christian religion. So they came to Lavang and murdered 30 of the faithful right at the door of their little shrine. Someone then started a fire at the shrine, but we suspect it wasn't the soldiers because they had also heard of the miracles and they were frightened to destroy the church itself. While the church was lost, at least some of the wooden furnishings were saved, and they were used in the new brick church, which was begun in 1885 and completed in 1900. The popularity and the reputation of the Shrine of Our Lady of Lavang grew, and in 1901 they were able to celebrate the first annual celebration. The groups became so big, with so many pilgrims, that the complex had to be enlarged in 1928. The Vietnamese bishops made the church at Lavang the national shrine of the country in 1961 during the Marian conference. And in August of that same year, Pope St. John the 23rd gave that church the title of Minor Basilica. Our Lady of Lavang, pray for us. Today as well, at St. Omer's in 1481, we have the institution of the Confraternity of the Presentation of Our Lady. For today's reading from True Devotion to Mary by St. Louis de Montfort, we're continuing with the second part on the most excellent devotion to Our Blessed Lady, or the perfect consecration to Jesus by Mary. And we're considering this figure of this consecration in the history of Jacob receiving the blessing of Isaac through the offices of Rebekah. So again, St. Louis de Montfort is making this comparison between how Rebekah prepared Jacob to receive Isaac's blessings, and he says that this is the way that Mary prepares her devoted servants to receive God's blessings. So for today, we're just going to read point 200, because point 201 starts with another list. I mean, St. Louis de Montfort is a list maker. And so in point 200, we consider the fifth point of comparison between the predestinate, how they are like Jacob, and follow their mother's advice. So here, St. Louis de Montfort writes, lastly, the predestinate keep the ways of our Blessed Mother, their good mother. That is to say, they imitate her. It is in this point that they are truly happy and truly devout, and carry more especially the mark of their predestination. This good mother says to them, Beati qui custodiunt vias meas, that is to say, blessed are those who practice my virtues, and with the help of divine grace walk in the footsteps of my life. During life they are happy in this world, through the abundance of graces and sweetnesses which I impart to them from my fullness, and more abundantly than to others who do not imitate me so closely. They are happy in their death, which is mild and tranquil, and at which I am ordinarily present myself, that I may conduct them to the joys of eternity. And lastly, they shall be happy in eternity, for never has any one of my good servants been lost who imitated my virtues during life. The reprobate, on the contrary, are unhappy during their life, at their death, and for eternity. because they do not imitate Our Lady in her virtues, but content themselves with sometimes being enrolled in her confraternities, reciting some prayers in her honor, or going through some other exterior devotion. O Holy Virgin, my good mother, how happy are those, I repeat it with the transports of my heart, how happy are those who, not letting them be seduced by a false devotion towards you, faithfully keep your ways, your counsels, and your orders. But how unhappy and accursed are those who abuse your devotion, and keep not the commandments of your Son. Maledicti omnes qui declinant mandatis tuis. It says that. Cursed are all those who refuse your mandates. It's quite a serious phrase.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our Marian podcast. As St. John Paul II teaches us, from Mary we learn to love Christ, her Son, the Son of God. Through her intercession, may we grow ever closer to Him. We encourage you to share this with a loved one or friend and help spread our devotion to Mary. Thank you, and God bless.